pool status update. Of course, the problems with the pool weren't just the water. The problems also exist, as I think I've mentioned, in the filter, which is letting sand through, which means it's broken somewhere. And in the electrical, which I also mentioned. So I've got an electrician coming out Tuesday afternoon to take a look at, give me an estimate on repairing the line. And I hadn't been able to get it to work, but I field stripped the pool cleaner and put it all back together again, and I got it working. Before, it didn't seem to be getting enough pressure, so I don't know if that's because the pool pump's working a little better, or there was something wrong, something loose in the cleaner. Anyway, it's running, which is good because it will pick up the sand that the filter is throwing, so that's an improvement. The wind is blowing stuff around. I'm going to take this opportunity to stay outside for a little bit. It's a beautiful day so far this morning, except that every time this is the fourth time I've tried to shoot this. The wind was blowing in the microphone. The thing was slapping against the wall. The chair was wobbling all over the place. Now the wind chimes. Screw it. I'll leave it in. The viewers of this vlog will know that I'm a bit of a stickler for trying to comply with the rules. And sometimes in this life, there are rules that you just are so widely disregarded and so ignored and so pointless that you're tempted to not comply with them. And I'll give you an example of this. And people watching this will also know that I complain about this vigorously when I see people do it. But if I see people do it, they're doing it wrong. Jaywalking. There are a number of major streets in Phoenix, at least two, and you're not supposed to be jaywalking. There are crosswalks, there are intersections, and sometimes, though, those crosswalks are a long way apart. And I'll give you an example. When I used to work, it was about 3/4 of a mile from my office to some of the restaurants I would go to, and one crosswalk in between the two. And sometimes you will be walking down that street and there's absolutely no cars coming in any direction. I'd be inclined to jaywalk at that point. If there are cars coming, no way, right? But sometimes it's just, I would walk down, and if it wasn't, and I wouldn't even use a crosswalk if it doesn't get a light, unless traffic isn't bad. I'm not one of those people that goes, hey, crosswalk here, I'll just walk out in front of the cars because I've got the right, because they'll kill you, because cars are being driven by humans, and humans are idiots. Most of them anyway. So I'm not even, generally won't do that. I treat a crosswalk as hostile territory, and I treat jaywalking as hostile territory. But if there's absolutely nobody out there, then I'll do it. It just is. And I mean, you see people jaywalking all the time. Nobody ever gets in trouble. So there's an example of a rule that's widely ignored. It's the law. You do it. Drone flying is another one of these. You see people flying drones all over the place. You see them at the parks. You see them, you see the footage of them at events. There were drone footages coming out of the Red for Ed March, and there's absolutely no way you're allowed to fly drones over crowds of people. Just in downtown Phoenix. It's not. And so that's why when you see my drone footage, typically I'm way in the hell out. Somewhere way out away from people because I'm like, this doesn't fall into this category, and it sounds flying over people's private property and things. So, but last time you saw me shoot some footage in the city of Phoenix, and people have said to me, "Oh, the city of Phoenix doesn't allow drone flying." City of Phoenix doesn't allow drone flying over city of Phoenix property, and it wasn't. And city of Phoenix doesn't allow, the law doesn't allow you to fly drones over somebody else's property without their permission, and it wasn't. And so it was, straight up from here. And then there are different rules for commercial drone pilots and recreational drone flying pilots. And from all I can tell, I'm not in a true FAA exclusion. I'm in a warning zone, but I'm not in an actively prohibited zone around the main airport or around a towered airport. There are helipads in the area, but none of them are manned. So there's no one to call for clearance on those things. In any case, I took the drone up last night to get some footage, and that's another one that you'll see people like, "Oh, you can't fly at night." Okay, that is not true. The prohibition for flying at night is for commercial drone pilots, which is funny. So a commercial drone pilot can fly a drone recreationally, in which case then they can violate that prohibition. And I'm not a commercial drone pilot. I've thought about getting my certification to do that. I haven't yet. Maybe I should. But not that I know anybody who wants to pay me to use the drone, which is why I haven't done it anyway. But one of the things that's a requirement of the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, is that you adhere to community-based standards. And the most commonly such as the American Model Airplane Association or something like that, which has some well-established community standards, which include line of sight on your drone and flying only during the daytime and a few other things. But here's the trick, and it is a trick. Like, the FAA says that, community-based standards such as, but there are other community standards out there, and some of them allow flying a drone at night. So as long as you're complying with someone's set of community standards, you're actually kind of okay. And so I researched that, and it does seem like kind of stupid loophole in the rules. But there's a lot of stupid rules out there. And so I thought, last night, there was no traffic going on. There's no police helicopters in the area. There's not a lot of activity going on. I thought, I'll give it a shot because I want to see if the cameras work at night and if I can get some nice shots of the Phoenix skyline. This is not a flight that I'm going to be doing very often because how boring is that? I mean, straight up, twirl around, come back down. But it doesn't look bad. The footage doesn't look bad. I've done it. Now I don't need to do it, but I do know now that if I'm flying somewhere else at night, I know how to do it, and I know how to set the camera up and get it working, and that's the important part. And knowing that you can actually fly at night is might be useful. It frankly terrified the heck out of me. It terrifies the heck out of me to fly it over my pool because I'm always convinced it's just going to drop out of the sky. And it terrifies me to fly it at night because, you can see some flashing lights up there, but it still terrifies me that it's going to drop out of the sky. But anyway, I'm practicing these things so that I'll be a little better when we go to camp this summer because I plan to do a better documentation than the last time I tried to use a cheap, crappy drone to document camp. And one of the things I want to do is get out over the lake. And if it drops out of the sky when it's over the lake, it's all over. I don't think my swimming's good enough to go out and rescue it. So, although it's so black, it's so dark at the camp, I doubt that there will be anything to see if I fly up, unless I can get high enough to see Prescott over the thing. That might be impressive, and we might try that. Anyway.